Thank you for joining me for another video. So it happened, man. Over the weekend, it happened. I've been making jokes for a while now that, Iran is finally going to kick things off and just, bump us up into World War III. But, here we are at war with Iran. And by we, I mean the United States and Israel for certain are both at war with Iran, and I believe the country of Qatar is as well, officially, but I'm not 100% up to date on all that. Here's what we know so far from the war, and then we'll talk about a different aspect of it all. As of this past Shabbat, the Israeli military and the United States military both executed attacks on Iranian targets within the country of Iran. In those first few attacks, Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, I guess I should say foreign supreme leader, caught a missile. He is no more. He is dead. He is very dead. And Iran didn't want to admit it for a while, but just like a couple of days ago, finally they were like, you know what? All right, you got him. You got him. Okay. To add insult to injury, they called in the Assembly of Experts. I'm not joking. That is what they are called. Who were going to pick the new supreme leader of Iran, and the Israelis and the Americans, the militaries of both countries, bombed the location of the Assembly of Experts. So, you would assume that they would, put two and two together at this point, but no, they've elected Khamenei's son to be the next supreme leader, and I just got confirmation today that the Israelis have also eliminated him as well. Now, in retaliation for the attack that was done by the Israeli and American air forces, Iran responded by attacking all the countries around it. All the countries around. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Jordan, Cyprus for some reason. That's in the Mediterranean. It doesn't make much sense. The Turks today, I saw they shot down a, can't remember if it was a drone or if it was a missile or something that had just entered their airspace. Or no, it was flying over, excuse me, it was flying over Iraqi airspace on its way to a Turkish target. And the Turks shot it down, so it looks like they're going to be jumping into the war. And, I've been joking about it for a few years now, but it certainly appears that Iran is kicking off World War III. And they chose to do it by attacking countries nearby them that they were not enemies with. I don't want to say they were friendly with, because I mean, you don't jump your friends. Obviously, you're not gonna, stab your friend in a dark alleyway. But they were not hostile to Iran. In fact, many of them, the majority religion is the same. I say the same. Okay, most of the Muslims in Iran, they're Shia. Whereas most of, I think, the majority of the countries that they attacked, with a couple of exceptions, I think Bahrain and perhaps the Qatar, are majority Sunni Muslim countries, although those two do have significant in Bahrain, don't quote me on this, the majority is actually Shia, but they're ruled by a Sunni government. So I don't know all the details into it, but the point is, all of the countries around there are predominantly Western United States, by attacking their co-religionists, their neighbors and their fellow Muslims. And frankly, I think that shows us just how unstable the government is. I understand, yes, there is a difference between Shia and Sunni. They don't get along, and they haven't since literally the time that, after Muhammad died, and this is what it all boils down to. After Muhammad died, there was a debate over who should lead. Sunnis followed after this guy, the Shia followed after this guy, and they've been fighting each other ever since. So literally, there is only one time in history when Islam was all just a unified, kumbaya religion. I say that they were never a kumbaya religion. They were never peaceful. But there was a time when they were peaceful to each other. But it was only during the lifetime of Muhammad. So, off of that, on to what does this mean for us? Okay, so a lot of people have been, and they're mostly Christians. Okay, I get it. I understand Christians want to know the Jewish perspective. I get it. You're not taught in church, and frankly, I wouldn't want to teach the Christian perspective in a synagogue. So why should you teach the Jewish perspective in a church, right? So I get it. It makes perfect sense, right? So a lot of Christians are asking me. They're reaching out by text or by email or whatever the case might be. I had a friend call me. And ask. The majority of people are wondering what this war with the Islamist regime, it's not with the people of Iran. God bless the people of Iran. I hope that they're safe. We should all be praying for them, that they would be safe and that they would overcome, that's the word I'm looking for, overcome this terrorist regime that they've been held captive by for the last nearly 50 years. 47 years ago, the Islamist regime took over Iran. They ousted the monarchy. They got rid of the Shah, who now lives in the United States. Things really got kind of bad. Especially if you were an American living in Iran at the time. Especially for Iranians living in Iran at the time. And Iranians that are still living there. So things were bad for them. They still are bad. They're not perfect yet, but God willing, we'll get there. And you should be praying for them. You absolutely should. Pray for their safety. Pray for their strength. Pray that they are able to overcome this oppressive regime that has occupied their government for the last 47 years. And most importantly, well, maybe not most importantly, because I'm more concerned about the Iranians because they have to live there. But also importantly, there we go, pray for the troops that are helping them fight against the Islamist regime. I don't know who's in charge right now. It doesn't matter because, God willing, they won't live very much longer. They certainly won't be in charge very much longer. The Iranian people have been literally begging for 47 years, please come help. Well, maybe not for the whole 47 years, but they've literally been begging allies for help. The Persian, the Iranian people, you may have seen recently, or they have been asking the Israelis to intervene. Why? Because there's a long and surprisingly friendly history between Israel and Persia. What was Persia? What is now Iran? Okay, but the Jewish and the Persian peoples are friends. Okay, don't listen to the nonsense that this Islamist regime has been preaching for the last 50 years. Persians and Jews are friends. We have been since the days of Cyrus the Great. It's wonderful. And, they have always supported us. And, now's the time for us, the Jewish people, to support them. Hence, Netanyahu, God bless him, has finally responded to their call for help. There, That's all the politics. And by the way, war is never a good thing. I guess this is the last of the politics. War is never a good thing. However, there are some times when not going to war is more immoral than going to war. When it's a war to liberate an oppressed people, it is more moral to go to war then than it is to just sit back and not. Okay? And I mean an actually oppressed people. I'm not talking Palestinians who have equal rights to Jews in Israel. Okay? That's not oppression. Okay? I'm not talking about blacks who have equal rights to whites in America. That's not oppression. I'm not talking about, any kind of other fake oppression out there that people are still getting caught up over for no reason in the modern world. These are not real oppression. I'm talking about the Iranian regime just murdered tens of thousands of their own people because they disagreed with what the government was doing. Okay? That's oppression. That's oppression. Israeli retaliation for terrorist attacks, that's not oppression. People in, the United States, black people, white people, being able to serve in the same government with equal rights under the law, that's not oppression. And not to mention all the other races who are also not screaming oppression. Okay? Not oppression. Oppression is when your government is murdering you just because, oh, well, it's Tuesday, I guess let's slaughter, another 30,000 of them. It's not Tuesday, by the way. It actually happens to be Thursday when I'm recording this. I'm done with the politics. War is never good, but there are times when war is the best bad idea. Okay, this is one of those times. War is unfortunately the only way to fix things over there because it was a war that got them into this mess in the first place. That's just the way things work. It's funny because there is actually a principle in kashrut, in when it comes to cleaning dishes and stuff, that if the way that an impurity gets into a dish, it has to be purged the same way. So if it's a liquid that passes impurity onto it, okay, so it has to be purged with water. If it's something hot that passes an impurity into this dish, okay, well, the way to get it out is to burn it out. Okay, it's so it is worth noting that the Islamic Revolution in Iran happened with war, and now, God willing, it's going to end with a war that hopefully won't claim as many lives. All of that back to the topic at hand. So people have been asking me, what's the significance of this? Why are Jews? They're asking specifically, why are Jews saying that this could potentially be the final war that will usher in the Messianic Age? And so that's a good question. It's a really good question, actually. And I figured, why not answer it? So let's talk about that. Politics, I don't like politics. It's all the same, always. It's burdensome. It really is. Now, you want to talk about what's right or wrong? I can tell you that. Very few governments are doing what's right or wrong. Most of them are doing what's wrong. But very few are doing what's right by their people. But that's the nature of governments. You have more, right? So people are asking what's going on with this war. Is it really going to usher in the Messianic Age? Is this really it? Is this Armageddon? That sort of thing. Is it people are thinking, is it World War III yet? Well, it's starting to look that way. Okay, it is certainly starting to look like Iran has kicked off World War III. But not important right now. So let's talk about, let me grab my glasses right quick. We're going to talk about Persia, specifically specifically Iran, as it relates to the Messianic Age or the coming of the Messianic Age, because everyone's saying, oh, the prophecies say that a war with Iran, that's going to be the last one before Mashiach, before the Messiah comes. It's going to be, and it's going to be glorious. Okay, glorious is a super exaggeration. Wars are never glorious. Well, I mean, I take that back. Okay, some things in wars are actually really quite spectacular, very fantastic, like amazing to see, amazing that it happened. Not always good that it happened, but really just amazing, thing. I'm specifically referring to the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki back in World War II by American forces. We dropped nukes on them. Okay, not a good thing at all. It was a war crime, but for some reason nobody ever held the United States accountable. Probably because they were afraid that we'd nuke them. I don't know. Possibly, there are a lot of variables there. I'm not going to speculate. But nobody can deny that it was truly amazing that something of that destructive power was able to happen. So there are amazing things, really fantastic things, really very astounding things, glorious, if I can say that, things that happen in war. But it would always be better if it doesn't. So, what does Iran have to do with end-time prophecies, right? I say end-time. In Judaism, we don't really have an end-time. So we call it Harith HaYamim, which literally means the last days. But we don't really believe that it's the last days. We just say, the last days. Just whatever, right? So it's a reference to something in the distant future that we can't even conceive of right now. Okay, so Iran is Persia. Okay, I have to say that the modern country of Iran is the ancient empire of Persia. Now, it's not the full empirical extent that they reached at one point. Okay. Iran does not rule from Hodu to Kush like it did in the book of Esther. Okay, from Hodu, what is now Pakistan, India, what is now Pakistan, to Africa, Nubia, Ethiopia. Okay, Iran does not rule that vast territory, as you may have noticed, like its ancient Persian predecessor did, but Iran today is Persia. It's the same country, it's the same people, and more importantly, it is very literally the exact same country. Okay? By that, I mean to say that in 1935, so just shy of 100 years ago, what is that, 91 years ago, the imperial state of Persia changed their name officially to the imperial state of Iran. Okay, so when I tell you that Persia is literally Iran, I mean it. Obviously, in 1979, the Islamic Revolution happened, and that ousted the monarchy and installed the I can't say that word. Because kids. They installed the madman who, thank God, has been eliminated as of this past Shabbat, just before Purim, which is, we're not going to get into that, but that's the timing, man. The timing is just, it's beautiful. Anyway, obviously not the death and everything. That's not death is never beautiful, okay, unless it's the death of the wicked. Then it's beautiful and needs to be celebrated. This is a case where it's the death of the wicked. So it is beautiful and needs to be celebrated. But all the deaths in Iran of the innocents. No, not beautiful at all. Should not be celebrated. And we should, honestly, again, I'm just going to throw this out there again, we should be praying for the Iranians. Okay? Beautiful people. They really are. I know quite a few that live here in the United States, and they're wonderful people. Very loyal friends, very loving people in general. Nothing at all like the Islamist regime. Excuse me. I have forgotten where I was going. Persia is Iran. Okay, you need to know that. Very beginning, you need to know that. Now, that being said, Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39 tell us about a let's call it the end time war, the apocalyptic war, right? Armageddon. It is the war of Gog and Magog is what we call it in Hebrew, the Gog and Magog, which it should be called like the war of Gog from Magog, because Magog is the place that he comes from. It specifically says that Gog is the prince of Magog. Okay, but that's not, time just sort of distorts things a little bit. So, it became Gog and Magog. Okay. So in the context of that, we read that Gog, the ruler of Magog, is going to bring this coalition of nations against the people of Israel. And he is going to attack us in our land. The very first nation mentioned that will side with Gog is the country of Persia, which is now Iran. Okay. Now, when I tell you that Iran is Persia, you need to remember it is Persia. There is no distinction. In fact, a lot of Iranians still call themselves Persians. It just is what it is. Now, so there's a lot, honestly, about Persia relating to the Messianic Age, the coming of the Messianic Age. There is a lot, not just in Scripture, but in rabbinical tradition as well. So in the Talmud, in the various midrashim, you're also going to find some stuff in medieval commentaries like Sefer Zerubbabel. You're also going to find there are a few passing references in the Zohar, which I'm not a fan of. I own one, but I'm not really a fan of it. I'm not a mystic. I've discussed this before. I'm not a mystic. It's a mystical, but I'm not into that sort of thing. I have no use for mysticism, but it is mentioned as well in the Zohar. So there's a lot that there is a very long tradition, I should say that. There's a very long tradition that Persia is going to kick off the big one. Persia will start the war to end all wars, not World War I, okay, not maybe not even World War III, but the war that will usher in the coming of the Messiah, or as the Talmudic texts say, the revelation of the Messiah, meaning when it's revealed that, oh, this guy right here, John Cohen, is the Messiah. It's probably not anybody named Cohen. I just want to throw that out there. Just probably not. That is one of the few names that I would say definitively we can argue will never be the last name of the Messiah. And I have reasons for that. If you want to know, reach out to me. So one of the rabbinical traditions was by Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He said in the Midrash Shir HaShirim Rabbah that if you see a Persian horse, not heis, if you see a Persian horse and it's tied to the graves of graves in Israel, that you should, you should at that point be hearing the footsteps of the Messiah. Okay, very interesting expression to use. What he means by that is, and I actually wrote this down so that I don't accidentally alter it at all, is that when Persian military might causes death in Israel, final redemption is near. Okay, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of this than it really is. I'm not telling you this is the war. This is Iran kicked it off, man, and we're gonna. It's the Messiah's coming tomorrow. I'm not gonna tell you anything like that. Although God willing, he'll be here tonight. I'm expecting him soon. I'm expecting him when he gets here, and you are too. Maybe you don't know it yet. So I don't want to make anything big out of this, but it just so happens that there have been deaths in Israel caused by Persian, and by Persian I mean Iranian military assaults. That would be the missiles that have been sent into Israel. Also, there is a debate. It's actually a fairly well-known debate in the Talmud in Tractate Yoma on page 10a. That relates to the coming of the Messianic Age. It says that there is actually a debate over... This is going to sound silly, okay? There is a debate over will Rome conquer Persia or will Persia conquer Rome? Now, contextually, you need to understand, at the time the Talmud was written, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire were bitter enemies. And we can actually kind of still see that a little bit today. You'll understand what I mean in a minute. The Roman and Persian empires, bitter enemies, and they were at war. They actually have the longest war on record in the entire world. And I think that's just really amazing. This is one of those things about warfare that, is amazing. 681-year-long war between Rome and Persia. Okay, I say Rome, specifically I'm talking about the Eastern Roman Empire. This is after the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. That would be the one actually in Rome. So we're technically speaking about the Byzantine Empire, but they were Romans. Okay, so the war was happening when the Talmud was written. Absolute chaos for almost 700 years. It makes the French and the English with their puny 100 Years' War seem really sort of, amateur, right? So contextually, we're talking about, this debate is going on then, and then we've got one rabbinical authority who speaks up, Rabbi Judah. Not me, but a different Judah. Listen, it's a very common name. Okay, so Rabbi Judah spoke up and just basically shut everybody up. He quoted a teaching from Rav, which is found in a different place in the Talmud, but he was quoting this teaching there, where Rav says that the son of David, and by the son of David he means the Messiah. This is the ultimate Davidic Messiah, the conquering king, if you will only come when the wicked Roman kingdom expands its dominion over the world for 9 months. Now, it's not hard at all to make the case that Christianity, and by extension Western civilization, is the successor to the Roman Empire. Okay, there have been a couple of times when they've tried to revive the Roman Empire. I'm specifically thinking about the Holy Roman Empire, which is Germany now, but, Germans, go big or go home, I guess. Not just the Roman Empire, the biggest, baddest one around, the Holy Roman Empire, because we're Germans, and that's just how we do things. They have no small dreams, It's never like, oh, I want to open up a bakery. It's always like, I want to open up a planet of bakeries. It's never, World War II was all about them expanding and taking over the world. Why can't they be more British? You know, just sort of dream a little bit smaller. You know, I want to move into that house over there. And that's really, honestly, kind of how the British are. But I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, that's pretty accurate. That's, you know, they don't really have the same, not on the same level. Nobody has dreams on the same level as the Germans, right? The Holy Roman Empire, you know, which was just really, honestly, just a rump of what the original Roman Empire was, but not important. I don't even know what I'm getting at anymore. Oh yeah, so it's not controversial, and it's not even a great leap to say that the Roman Empire is now represented by Christianity and, by extension, Western civilization. Okay, the majority of Western countries are predominantly Christian. Why? Because I'll let you look that one up. Okay. No, I'll just tell you. Because the Romans basically said, you can convert to Christianity or we can kill you. And everyone else was just kind of like, I guess I'm a Christian then. And so that's why the majority of the Western world is Christian. Not important in today's world, but, you know, you can see that there is a clear line of succession, Western civilization with the Roman Empire. Right? And the Persian Empire, you can see, is very clearly Iran, because Iran is Persia. So this conflict between Rome and Persia, we could extrapolate it and extend it to where we're saying exactly what Rav did, that the Messiah is not going to come until the wicked Roman kingdom expands its dominion over the world for 9 months. Now, the 9 months thing, time is relative, but we know that 9 months, you know, that's human gestation period. Okay, it could be referring to, you know, the Messiah is not going to show up until almost a year into Roman dominion over everything. The idea is, it really sounds like the West is going to win this war based off of that against Persia, okay, against Iran, okay. You know, to be fair, you know, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or anything. I'm not saying this is surely going to happen this time around. What I'm saying is that, you know, and there are a lot of what ifs in that. What I'm saying is this is part of the tradition, okay? I was asked why a lot of Jews are saying this could be the final war, and the answer is, you know, the tradition. I'm just sharing a little bit of it. So there is also a midrash in Yakuth Shimoni that says that the year that the Messiah is revealed, there's going to be a war in the Middle East, right? Right? Because that never happens, right? Well, this war is a little bit different, because in this war, the Midrash tells us that the king of Persia will attack the king of Arabia. What? That doesn't seem right. The king of Persia, the king of Arabia. To be fair, Saudi Arabia has a king, and they were attacked by Iran. But Iran ousted their king, right? Yes, but they put in a dictator in his place who is still basically the same thing as a king. The guy did whatever he wanted, starting with the execution of literally everyone who helped him come into power. You know, all the liberal, you know, hippies and whatnot in Iran, you know, who wanted the Islamic Revolution because it was originally billed as sort of this Marxist, Leninist sort of a thing, you know, and then they came to power. They just killed their fan base, basically. Why? Well, because they were useful idiots. They helped them come to power, and then they were no longer useful, and so, you know, why keep around something you have no use for, right? Right? I know you get me. So, king of Arabia, oh sorry, the king of Persia will attack the king of Arabia. Iran will attack. Let's just expand that a little bit to say the Arab countries around it. I don't want to get anyone excited, but that's exactly what happened this time. Now what's interesting is that the Midrash goes on to tell us, and this is just like really sort of, it staggers the imagination, because it goes on to tell us that after being attacked, after being harassed by the Persians, the Arabian king is going to look to Aram for advice about what to do. It's going to ask Aram for help. Now Aram today is modern day Syria and parts of Turkey. Okay. However, a well-known fact is that when you're copying text by hand in Hebrew, you often make a mistake of the R and the D are very, very similar letters in Hebrew. So a lot of people who are, copying things by hand will mistake one for the other, and so you have these variant readings that are out there. So if that's the case that happened here, as the majority of scholars actually suppose to be the case, we're not talking about the Arabian king looking to the Arameans. We're not talking about him looking to Aram for help, but to Edom. Edom is, I'm just gonna, this is much longer, this is a small segment of much longer thought, much longer teaching that, you really kind of just need to know it, to fully understand it, and I, honestly, I just don't have time. It's so long that I don't have time to get into it. But Edom is in rabbinical literature name for Rome. Okay, so what are we seeing here? Well, we're seeing that according to this midrash, the Arabs are going to call out to Western civilization for help against Persia. I don't want to get anybody excited unnecessarily. If it's absolutely necessary, by all means get excited, but it's been reported that the Saudi king actually reached out to Trump and asked Trump to attack Iran for them. Again, I don't want to make a big deal out of that, because honestly I don't know, I wasn't there, but that's what's being reported. Now, that being said, I've taken up enough of your time. There is a lot more that I could go into with this, but I don't really... it would make a much, much longer video. The question initially was, what's different about this war that makes a lot of Jews think that perhaps the Messiah will be coming on the edge of this war? I believe I answered the question, but just to summarize, we have a very, very long tradition dating back to biblical times that Persia will start the final war. What's interesting is that there's also this idea that Persia would be both the enemy in the war and friendly at the same time, which implies that the Persian regime, in this case the Iranian Islamist regime, would be the enemy, whereas the common Persian people, because for whatever reason, I just don't understand it, but for whatever reason, they can't support Palestine without supporting terror, and since Iran is the regime that's been Iran, because if they do that, they have to acknowledge that the Houthis in Yemen, all funded by Iran. Okay, Islamic Jihad, funded by Iran. So they can't say all their terrorist friends are just, no more. So they really caught themselves in, let's call it a mousetrap. They really caught themselves in a mousetrap here. So, that being said, the tradition is so long that I don't have time to get into it today. and I don't want to keep you any longer than I already have. But you know, God willing, we'll all come out of this okay. Go check it out if you're curious. If you're still curious about it, you want to see what else is out there. Go check it out online. I know you can get online. I know you have internet access because you're watching me online. Okay, I know you have internet access. Don't go to Wikipedia; it's full of misinformation. Go to Jewish sites. Okay, maybe Encyclopedia Judaica is going to give you a more well-rounded expression of it. But also, you can just chatbots. Chat GPT, Grok, maybe, Claude, whatever all these other exciting ones are. Whatever the cool one is today, go ahead and use that one. And yeah, that's all I got. So until next time, shalom.